Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here on the Hagenstedt map. Let's get back to reliving the glory days. But honestly, I don't think that this is going to be enough to cause us any problems because we're just doing mowing in here. We won't be doing any crops, so we can afford to have the ground quite a bit more uneven than we would otherwise have it. So for the moment, I'm going to leave that over there, and I'm only going to focus on the stuff down here. So I'm going to change this over. I'm actually going to boost the brush strength up all the way up to 3. So that's maximum. Brush size, I'm going to expand that one out to here, and I'm going to use the middle mouse button, not both buttons together where it does it making it perfectly flat. On the middle mouse button here, and I want to kind of just blend this down. It sort of blends it down and up at the same time. Like that. So I'm going to do this blending here, and I want to get close to the edge of the riverbank so that it pulls this down some more, like that. See, right there. That's excellent. That's what I want. I want to bring that down a little bit. I don't want to do too much into the riverbank, and I don't want to do too much around near the bridge over here, because that's potentially going to cause problems, and I don't want to get too tight to that bridge anyway. We're going to have to sort of be careful about how we edge the field, but we can go back and we can do something with that later anyway. So we're just going to bring this around like that. I'm not going to go any closer to it. Just run this along. There we go. I keep zooming in and out a little bit because I'm using the middle mouse button, obviously, to go and do this. Let's make that a bit bigger now. It sort of... Also, that's the same control for zooming in and out. If you accidentally scroll a little bit. So, we just want to push that in like that. And then level this down. And what we'll do is we will paint over this. Because I'm changing the level of the terrain, it removes the grass on there. So I'll then paint over it once I've finished doing what I want to do on here. See, I'm going up near the edge of the bank, but I'm not going right to the bank. Same down here. And then we come up the road bit on there. Smoothing it out some more. Still doing the same. Just bringing that so it's nice and smooth and the machinery can run over it quite well. Okay, so now I'll bring that. I'm not going to go down too small on that. And then I'll switch it over to this tab. That's the first bit of grass. So now we will start doing some tests. I'll take that right down to smallest. That is actually, I think, the one that I want. If I go tab again, that's giving me flowers. It's giving me more. It's giving me more flowers. It's the red flowers. That's kind of mud. So I'm going to do that with grass along the edges here in places. I'd like the edge of this river to remain kind of natural looking. So I'm going to do this along here, like this. There. So it's natural looking. I'm deliberately kind of just scattering it around because natural looking is a whole lot different to man-made. So you need to scatter it. So you want to go through it fairly quickly. Then we've got some shrubs. So I'm just going to put a couple of these along. I'm not actually going to do very many because I don't like having shrubs right on the edge of anything, but a few of them along there, because we've gotten rid of the trees, it's going to make it look a little bit more natural just to have a few of these in place, I think. I'm going to swivel round over here, and I'm going to put one under that side, and I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to put another one that's sort of right near the edge there. That looks a little bit better. So, to make up for the fact that we don't have the trees here now, we've got a few shrubs just like along near the edge of the water. There's another one. Okay. And then we'll come back over here and we'll do another test in here. It's bigger shrubs. That's just no shrubs at all. And we've got that type of grass there on fairly normal... Although that's not grass, is it? Well, it is sort of grass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of patches of this in. I don't think that this is grass that can be mown. I think that is something a bit different. So we'll put that in because it looks a bit like a water reed of some kind. I'll put a bit of that in. And then we'll tab again. Let's see what we got now. We got these coming up here. So we can put in a couple of patches of that. Not very much. Get carried away. Next one is that. I don't want any of that. I will put a bit of, I can't put individual plants like they've already got there, so we won't do that. I think that's enough. I don't want to overdo this. I'll do a little bit over on the other bank. I haven't done anywhere near as much over on the other bank. I haven't actually done anything other than a few shrubs. So a few bits of these weeds, like near the water's edge, I think is actually going to look pretty good. So we'll put that down there, and then I don't need to do anything else. All I want now is I want to go back through these textures over to the first standard grass, which is that one, and then we're going to do this is going to sort of go right up to the edge of the area that we were working on, like that. And it's also going to come out here onto the edge of the road, like that. So I'm going to fill all of this in with it, up here like this. Don't go any further than that. We'll take it to about that point, I think, so I can make this out a little bit bigger now. And yes, I know I'm literally about to go and plow some of this up, but I'm making sure that wherever I have my outside edge plow line, there's going to be a nice lot of grass on the edge of that, just to stay there and keep growing. So we run this all the way up through like this. Keep everything in place. That's going to look nice and tidy then. So once it's finished and it's all grown back up again, then we got long grass on the edges, right up to the edges of that one as well, and that will go up there like that. Now this bit in here I can leave. I'll put a little bit in. That's about it. That's all I'm going to need to do. So we will plow up this road, but we'll sort of bring it in here. We don't want to get too close to that bridge, so we'll have to be a little bit careful how we go and do that. So there's the landscaping bit done for now. We'll probably want to go and do another little bit in a while to tidy some of it up, but we're not going to do that just yet. So the next thing we want to do is actually cut out the fields, and I'm going to start up on this side, and I'm going to start it by going up and down here, right here. I'm just going to move up and down in a line until we get to sort of where I want to go. So I want to not use this tractor at all because this one doesn't have the GPS system on it. So I've got to leave the plow right there. This tractor can just go over here for a minute, park up. Like that. You've got GPS. You have. You don't. Okay, I didn't realize that both of the Starers didn't, which means that I need this one. So fortunately, I've put you near the edge of the field anyway. So let's go and get you and move over. So when I replace those two Starers and I upgrade them to Valtras, we'll just make sure that we've got GPS on all tractors from here on in, because it's just going to make life a little bit easier. Anytime we want to do a bit of ploughing, anytime we want to carve ourselves out a new field, anything like that, it's just going to make life a bit simpler for us. So I want to go here like that and turn GPS on. I want to go Control S for the GPS thing. We go in here. We've got aggro plow right there. That's the one that we want. We go into here. Everything else is okay on there, so I can just press escape, and there I've got that one in place already. As it's facing in this direction, I'll run you up here. I'm actually going to move it over a little bit. So Alt page up, just to make sure that it is properly hooked up to the very edges of everything on here, and then I'm going to bring it back this way. I'm going to go back further than I need to be going, or at least what I think is further than I need to be going, and allow create fields, and then I'll do it through it. And I'll use the landscaping just to tidy up the corners afterwards. I feel that's probably the best way to go about it. And I'll do the same over here as well on this bottom edge. where we're going alongside the river. It's probably going to be one pass into there, maybe 1.5, but it does depend on where we are with the river right in the middle, so I don't really need to go any further than where that is, and then I can round off the edges once I'm done. So it's about there is where I want to get to. Bring that one over this side, and we'll do another pass up through here. Bring you up to about that point, so you're going to go there, I guess. That's perfect, and now we can go whizzing up through here. I don't know, I think I could do another full width, because that road there is quite wide, and quite frankly, I don't really use that road. So I think we can get away with another full width of plough up this side, which is more field for us, which is good. I kind of like that idea, so we will do that. We will take an extra large slice going through this way, which is going to get us even more land for our cows, which is good. And I used to plough up if I didn't think that I was going to use a road, I would plough it all up. Like, I would plough as much as I possibly could. The only advantage that I've got this time round is, like that bit next to the river, I can now use the landscaping and I can smooth that out, which gets me just an extra little sliver. And I'm not going through and like removing that entire mountain there in the middle, because I feel that wouldn't be the right way to go and do it. I could even leave this out. I'll round the corner off a little bit on this bit, but I probably won't do very much more than that. So that side there, I've still got a decent road width all the way up through there. So I'm quite happy with leaving that like that. Next, we will go over to this side, and we will start on here. So that's not, let's page up. It's actually pretty much in the right place anyway. I'll bring you back over here, and then there's going to be something similar. So I'm going to want the edge of my field to be here somewhere, because I'm not going to want to go any closer to the bridge than that. And then the next run that I do will go down, actually, that's about where it's going to be there, and we'll sort of have a big rounded edge on that field all the way through. I'm not quite sure how we'll deal with that. Coming up this side, I probably won't end up taking a third full width all the way through. We'll wait and see. So here is where we've got the slightly uneven ground, and that is about as far as I'm going to want to go because of where that hut is. So that's the deciding factor on this. We'll join that one in there. Bring you back, and I'll keep that kind of about that same distance as well. Like that. Yeah, see, another full width on there might be a little bit much, considering that this is the main road coming through up to the cattle yard up there. So I'm not quite sure how much further out we will go. We'll go out a bit. But again, we're coming down in line with the bridge. It's a shame the bridge isn't over a bit more. So because of the fact that we got the bridge there, I'm going to stop this one here. I'm not going to go any further than that. And then we need to have a look at this road. Where is this coming through? I think we can get away with this. Or can we? No, we won't. What we'll do is I'll move that in about there, like that. So I'm in by almost half a width. Not quite, but almost. And I'll lower it down about there, I think. Got through, and then I can round that off so that I've got plenty of room to get past the bridge. I'll take off quite a bit on the corner back there, but where I'm driving at the moment, this is fine, and I don't want it any further out onto the road on this side, because we need to have room for swinging around down on that bottom edge. So we don't want to get too greedy on this, and we'll be sort of removing a little bit of it up on this top bit as well. Now, next job, we'll start on this one in here. So I will go Control S in here. Go to that one. Rotate it by 90 degrees like that. And then I will come in here. So I can join that one in. Lower that one down like that. And off we go. Right. Couple of passes on here is going to be nice and simple. No problems. And then we've got to pay very close attention to how uneven the ground is. Whether or not we do need to do a little bit of landscaping in order to just smooth it out. Just a tiniest bit. But obviously that hut being up there on the corner, that is the ultimate deciding factor on everything that we can do on here. There isn't anything else that we can put up onto that bit. Let me connect that one in there. Just start up the GPS on it. And then we can go whizzing on down through here. And this is a bit that I really like. Except that it's going to miss the shrubs at the moment. I love the plough taking out the shrubs and the weeds and stuff. It's missing everything. Is it going to miss that one as well? Okay. I didn't actually expect that. It's left all of those shrubs down through there. On the next pass, we'll get to see the bit that I actually really like, which is it removing all of the shrubs. It's going to take all of those shrubs out right the way down through there. We've got a big long line of them now. And that's the bit that I like, is seeing those shrubs getting removed. That's always my favourite part of ploughing in any kind of new field, is seeing the shrubs removed, which is why I try to avoid doing landscaping if I can, because then I get to see the shrubs being ploughed up. Because otherwise, you've either got to manually add them back in afterwards, or you just don't get to do it for that little bit. But there we go. See, we're ploughing in the shrubs and everything, and I like that. I think that just looks cool. All the weeds, everything, it's all getting ripped up and ploughed under. It's awesome. Bring you back round over here, and this should... Well, I'll say this should be the last one, or this might not be the last run. We may get another pass on this as well. I'm going to bring you all the way out over to here, and we'll go from this point. I will shave off that corner a bit, but probably not as much as I originally thought that I would want to. It's this bit right here, actually. There's one bit here that just the tail end of that hill sticks out a bit. It's all right there where we've just gone over. You can see it's not very uneven at all, but just here in front of this machine, in front of this little hut, that's where it's starting to get a bit uneven. But it's still not very much, is it? We might be all right to leave that. Kind of hope that we are all right to leave that, because then we've got a little bit of slightly uneven ground, and when you're not doing arable work, having a bit of slightly uneven ground with mowers, although that might be a bit too much just in there, I always think it looks quite cool having the machinery go over it, if it can run it. If the machinery can actually cope with it, I think it looks quite cool having that slightly uneven bit. There's one little bit right at the other end. We may have to go back and do something about that. That might not actually work properly, but I guess we'll wait and see. So let's just put you there like that. I'm going to go back to that other end. We don't want any more on there now. We've ploughed out as far as we want to. So that bit there, I think that's all right where it is. But there's this slight bit just here. I'm wondering whether that is going to be a bit too much. Don't know. If anything, it's going to be too much for rakes. That's what's... We'll leave it at the moment. We will leave it at the moment, and then when we come back to, like, when we start doing using larger machinery to go and do these jobs, then we can see whether or not it is a bit too much or not. So I just want to move that up so that it's definitely fully overlapping. I don't like having little tiny bits of the field left behind, so I'd rather have a decent overlap into the field when I do the first bit. We missed a patch of hay there. How on earth did I miss that? Okay. Genuinely don't know how that little bit got missed, but it's not missed now. It's going to be incorporated into the field. It'll be absolutely fine. And then we're going to plough up all of this road, and that's going to be the end of that. There is going to be no more road left here. That will be all gone, that whole piece all the way through there. So if you did want to be driving through there, well, you should have thought of that before I came along. And yeah, see, I don't think that there's any reason for keeping that. like, looking at where everything is going and where we have our tracks coming. So I'm torn about that one over there on the other side, whether I should leave it, because of delivering stuff to the garden centre over there. That's the garden centre just there, or at least it used to be. I don't know what they've called it on this map. But, I mean, the only things that are being sold over there, that's only manure and... pretty sure the only things, the vegetable warehouse, and literally the only things that you can sell there are those two, manure and slurry. So it's not like we're ever going to be going in there with any larger machinery. So it's never going to be an issue for us like that. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, we definitely the ones around there, so this side, that side over there, and the top edge near that shed up there, those have definitely got to stay. This one along here, yeah, I don't really think there is actually going to be use for it. We'll have to change it round. Well, no, there's nothing to change around. We'll rip that up as well. Right, we've come to the edge of the outside edges of the field, and now we're actually ripping up road. For those of you who've ever actually done this in real life, you have to have something quite substantial to be able to rip up a piece of road or anything like that. I've done it with a couple of bits of road a few times, and I've also done it with the edge of a grass airstrip. Now, the airstrip had been an airstrip for 20 years, and the person that maintained it had a very heavy vibrating roller that he would roll at the airstrip with every single month. So it was extremely heavy, and it was very, very compacted. The grass would grow on it, but it didn't grow very much because of how compacted that soil was. It was really, really hammered down with this vibrating roller. There were moles in the field next to the airstrip, but you never ever had moles going into the actual airstrip itself. That's how compact it was. The moles weren't interested, they weren't going in there at all. And then the guy that owned it and owned the estate that I worked on at the time, he decided that he didn't need a strip at the end of the airstrip, and he didn't want to keep it because obviously he's like, he was the one that did the maintenance. He didn't trust anybody else to do any of the maintenance on there ever at any point. So he did it himself. He did the mowing, he did the rolling and stuff, and he decided it was about a 50-meter stretch on the end of the airstrip that he didn't want, he didn't need. Aircraft never touched that bit at all. They were a long way off of that. It was originally built as kind of a just in case, because there may have been some slightly larger aircraft coming in, but they never did. So he decided that it could be turned back into field. So we had a subsoiler. We had to go through it with that, and we had to get, like, the normal tractor that was used for subsoiling wasn't the biggest tractor that we had on the farm. It was sort of one of the mid-range tractors. The mid-range tractor couldn't barely pull it at all. It was really, really struggling, so we had to get a bigger tractor and put that on the subsoiler. That was really making it struggle. The subsoiler that we used had a vibrator on it that was hitched up to the PTO, so it would help it go through the ground a lot easier. If you press the clutch while the thing was still in the ground, you could be going along at a fair speed. You'd keep going, the tractor would stop dead. The guy that worked there, I think I've said this before, but he told me about it. He had a massive big bruise on his head because he did that without thinking. And he shot forward and smashed his head into the windscreen of the tractor. He said he was lucky that he didn't actually crack the window on the front of the tractor. He hit it that hard. And he even felt that it was potentially hard enough to have knocked a little bit of sense into him, but we later realised that that wasn't the case. So anyway, it struggled to do that, and in the end, what the mechanic did, because this subsoiler that we used had 3 legs on it. It was a 3-leg subsoiler. So what we did was we ended up removing two of the legs off of the subsoiler and had it just as one leg in the middle to go and work this. I'm just going to bring this one over here now. We're done with that bit. We had two legs in the middle to work this, sorry, one leg in the middle to work this thing. And that was all we had on it. Just the one leg in the middle. That's all we used. And then went backwards and forwards. And that was a struggle. That's how solid that ground was. Like, the big tractor was able to pull through reasonably well with that. But, yeah, that was a bit of a strain even then. You could tell the tractor was working hard when it was doing it, but it coped with it. Next on here, I want to go with that one, actually. But before I get started on that, we want to do the landscaping. And now what we want to do is we want to take the edges of the field in here. So to start with, I'm going to take that down like that. And I'm going to put grass in here. And it's going to come up like that. I'm going to paint that bit over so that I'm away from the bridge. I want to be away from that bridge. I don't want to get too close to that one. If there's any other bits that I want with grass, let's do those first. Which does include this bit over here. So I'm going to change that one to a square shape, like that. And I put that out like that, there. And then I'm going to move up this way. There isn't any that I want to do with the grass on that side. And I want to come over to here. Right, unfortunately, that's not going to work out, so I'm going to change that back over to this one, and I'm going to have to do it like that. Because the square one will jump over too much. So what we'll do is we'll just push that in like that. It's a different texture in there. Unfortunately, I don't have the standard texture that we've got here, but we can work with that. And yeah, once the airstrip was actually ploughed up and then the crop was growing in it, the yield on you could tell that the ground wasn't very good. The performance of the crop that was growing on that bit of the airstrip was terrible. There was hardly any yield on it at all. It looked like it was under severe drought conditions. It was half the height of go all the way back through now. It was half the height of anything else that was growing in that field, and it was also right, I need to rotate around this way like this, and we'll bring that one in from here. Half the height of the rest of the field, and the yield on it was absolutely appalling as well. It really didn't do very well at all. Unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. A massive thank you to everybody who has earned their way into the Great Book of Names. To find out some more details about all the names coming past, please head into the description and click on the link to the Discord. It's a link to another video. The link is on the other video. Please also consider checking out the links there for Nitrado, who provide gaming servers for games like Farming Simulator, Minecraft, Ark, and several others. And there's also Fanatical, who will help support your gaming habit by providing you with cheap games and also giving me a small commission on anything that you buy using my link. If you've enjoyed this particular video, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.